Hey there, squad, come gather round. Retrospectives, come to town. It's Retrospectives, looking at media and taking it in. It's Retrospectives, who knows where to even begin? But the very best thing, it's true, is Mr. Sean is here with you. So come and see what all there is. Retrospectives now begins.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope I didn't lose you all during my brief vacation, and I thought now would be the perfect time to reveal a new series on the channel. Sometimes it's not about finding lost media. Sometimes it's about enjoying the media we have. And for that, I introduce Retro-Spectives, a show where we look at media that, you know, it might have been big, it might not have been, but it has had some kind of impact on the modern media landscape, and we will explore that along with the piece's history and origins. And to start things off, I wanted to start with one of my favorite pieces, a little game that no one played with a sequel that everyone is desperate for. I'm speaking of 2004's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines for the PC, a game that is far more interesting than its original sales figures might entrail. Sorry about that pun. If you enjoy this kind of content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's begin. Released in 2004, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is a game that was both ahead of its time and tragically doomed at launch. Developed by Troika Games and published by Activision, it combined deep RPG mechanics with immersive first-person gameplay, all set in the dark and seductive world of White Wolf's World of Darkness tabletop universe. However, the game was plagued by technical issues, rushed development, and a disastrous release overshadowed by Half-Life 2. Despite this, Bloodlines has since become a cult classic, revered for its storytelling, atmosphere, and role-playing depth. How did a game so fundamentally broken at launch go on to achieve such legendary status? Well, let's take a deep dive into the world of Bloodlines, its troubled development, its brilliance, and its lasting impact. Troika Games, founded by former Fallout developers Tim Kaine, Leonard Boyarsky, and Jason Anderson, was known for making highly ambitious RPGs, such as Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura, and the Temple of Elemental Evil, often at the cost of polish and stability. Bloodlines was no exception. Bloodlines holds the distinction of being the first officially licensed to use Valve's source engine other than Half-Life 2 itself. However, the honor came with immense challenges. Valve was still developing Source while Troika was working on Bloodlines, meaning Troika had to build the game on unfinished, constantly changing tech. This led to significant delays and technical issues. Adding to the pressure, Activision set strict deadlines. Troika had grand ambitions, multiple playable vampire clans, branching narratives, immersive role-playing elements, and a world that reacted to player choices. However, with limited time and resources, these ideas had to be implemented hastily, resulting in unfinished content, bugs, and cut features. Despite all this, Bloodlines managed to deliver something extraordinary. Unlike many RPGs of the time, Bloodlines did not feature a sprawling open world. Instead, it presented players with 4 detailed, semi-open hub areas: Santa Monica, downtown LA, Hollywood, and Chinatown, each filled with unique NPCs, quests, and hidden secrets. Troika's attention to detail was remarkable. The game's world feels alive in a way few others do, thanks to its moody lighting, ambient sound design, and well-written dialogue. The neon glow of downtown LA, the grimy back alleys of Santa Monica, and the eerie, dilapidated Ocean House Hotel, more on that later, all contribute to the game's unforgettable atmosphere. Unlike many RPGs that offer moral binaries, Bloodlines embraces shades of gray. Its world is cynical, corrupt, and full of backstabbing, making every decision feel impactful, even if the player is just choosing which manipulative faction to side with. One of Bloodlines' strongest aspects is its role-playing depth. The game offers 7 playable vampire clans, each with unique abilities and playstyles. The Bruja, hot-headed rebels great for melee combat. Gangrel, bestial loners excelling in animalistic abilities. Malkavian, insane vampires with unique cryptic dialogue options. Nosferatu, hideously deformed and forced to live in the shadows. The Toreador, socialites and artists charming their way through encounters. The Tremere, blood sorcerers with powerful magic. And Ventru, aristocratic vampires skilled in persuasion. Each clan not only changes gameplay, but also affects interactions with NPCs and dialogue choices. For example, Malkavians have entirely unique dialogue, filled with bizarre prophetic ramblings, while Nosferatu must avoid human society altogether, using sewers to travel unseen. The game also implements a Masquerade system. Breaking the vampire code by feeding in public or exposing supernatural abilities can lead to consequences, including vampire hunters tracking you down. This reinforces the feeling that you're part of a hidden, dangerous world where survival depends on discretion. Let's talk about some of the memorable quests and characters from Bloodlines. As I mentioned before, the Ocean House Hotel, this is horror done right. Arguably Bloodlines' most famous sequence, the Ocean House Hotel quest, is a masterclass in psychological horror. What starts as a simple mission to retrieve an item turns into a terrifying journey through a haunted hotel, complete with eerie whispers, flickering lights, and ghostly apparitions. The player is defenseless throughout, making the experience even more unsettling. Despite Bloodlines being an RPG at its core, this segment rivals some of the best horror games ever made. Mentioned before were the game's hubs and how masterfully they were created, and none is better done than Hollywood. Bloodlines explores the seedy underbelly of Hollywood, with quests involving corrupt politicians, snuff films, and vampiric crime lords. One of the most disturbing involves tracking down a snuff film producer whose actors aren't exactly volunteers. The moral choices presented here are deeply unsettling, and the quest exemplifies how Bloodlines isn't afraid to dive into truly dark subject matter. Not only are the worlds crafted beautifully, the characters themselves feel real and multi-layered, and this is highlighted in the Jeanette and Therese Vorman storyline. These twin sisters, owners of the Asylum nightclub in Santa Monica, are locked in a bitter feud. However, a major twist reveals they are in fact the same person, suffering from dissociative identity disorder. Depending on the player's choices, one or both personalities may survive, making it one of the most memorable and tragic moments in the game. When Bloodlines launched on November 16th of 2004, it was a disaster. Rushed out the door to avoid conflicting with Half-Life 2, which was released the same day, the game was riddled with game-breaking bugs, poor optimization, and unfinished content. Troika, already in financial trouble, was unable to fix it properly before the studio shut down in 2005. For years, Bloodlines remained a hidden gem, known only to those who could tolerate its broken state. However, the fan community refused to let it die. Over the next 2 decades, fans created unofficial patches, restoring cut content and fixing thousands of bugs. Thanks to these efforts, Bloodlines not only became playable, but legendary. Today, it's widely regarded as one of the best RPGs ever made. Many aspects that were new when Bloodlines was released are now standard, such as narrative-driven RPGs. Bloodlines paved the way for these narrative-heavy RPGs, such as Witcher 3 and Disco Elysium. Bloodlines also stands as a testament to what a dedicated fanbase can do, and it owes its survival to that fanbase, much like games such as Pathologic, Deus Ex Human Revolution, and Alpha Protocol. This game has shown us what can happen if people who enjoy something band together to make it even better. And its legacy continues with hopes of a sequel. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was announced in 2019, and while it has been delayed many times, supposedly it is coming out in the first half of this year, 2025. I'll believe it when I see it, but I'm ever hopeful. Despite its troubled launch, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines remains one of the most immersive, well-written, and unique RPGs ever created. Its deep role-playing mechanics, unforgettable characters, and atmospheric world have cemented its status as a cult classic. It may have been broken at launch, but thanks to its passionate fan base, Bloodlines lives on, proving that some games, like vampires, never truly die. And that's the video, guys. Thank you for taking this little trip down memory lane with me to one of my favorite video games. When I first purchased Bloodlines back in 2004, let's just say the computer I had at the time, as I had strictly hand-me-downs from my parents, was not quite up to snuff, so a broken and buggy game was even more broken and buggy due to my limited hardware, but I have since downloaded it onto the computer that I'm using now even to make this video, and I actually managed one night during a bout of insomnia to play the game through in its entirety in one sitting, as a Malkavian, which is my favorite. There's just something about being able to turn invisible while not being a hideous freak that must hide from society like the Nosferatu that makes the stealth missions doable. I am really hoping that the sequel actually comes out this year like it's supposed to. The Chinese room has currently taken over development, and while they had said originally it was going to come out last year, they've said they've decided to delay it slightly for the sake of polish, which, based on the information I gave you about the original game, it definitely could use some of that. So I'm hoping that what they put out is quite good. You know, fingers crossed. You never know with this day and age, especially because this game more or less, I wouldn't say it was in development hell for 15 years, but it's based on a game that is 15 years old. Or at least it was 15 years old at the time of announcement. It's now over 20 years old. That's a weird thought, isn't it? This game is old enough to drink. At least it will be in November. But guys, sorry to ramble. That's why I wrote the script for this video, is because I could just ramble all day about this game. It is one of my favorites, and I highly recommend that if you have not played it, that you do so before number 2 comes out. I don't think they'll be directly connected, but I definitely think this game is worth playing. You can get it on Steam right now. And if you have played it, or if you are at all familiar with Vampire the Masquerade, let me know in the comments, what is your favorite clan to play as, either in this game or the game in general? And if you have not played this game, or you are not familiar with Vampire the Masquerade, put in the comments spooky vampires, because hey, vampires are spooky, right? Anyway guys, thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this content, again, be sure to like, leave that comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode, and also consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon patron. You gain access to all of my member-exclusive videos on either platform for as little as $1 a month. And with all that being said, guys, this is Mr. Sean Productions, I'm Mr. Sean, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.